Hello guys, welcome back, and I'm back again with a new informational video, and it would be about the legal capacity to get married in the Philippines. I would be providing the requirements and the process on how we got our legal capacity to get married. Well, specifically for my husband, okay? I already made a video about how to get married with a foreigner in the Philippines, and one of the important requirement there is the legal capacity to get married. And I mentioned there also that getting the legal capacity to get married is a whole lot of different topic, because there's a lot of requirements inside of it before you get the legal capacity to get married. So it was really a lot of hassle. Like, it's hard for me to sit down with my husband because he's so traumatized with one of the requirements of the legal capacity to get married. So finally, I was able to talk to him and sit down about and discuss about the requirements and the process on it, because most of the time it was my husband who went inside of the embassy to process all of this thing. I just came there in the embassy by the end. So anyway, these are the requirements for the legal capacity to get married in the Philippines. This is specifically for Indian nationals. So if your partner is from another nationality, just check out the website. There would be some requirements on it. Here's the requirement. First is the original Indian passport with photocopy, original valid ID of the Indian national and then Filipino national with photocopy, and original birth certificate of the Filipino national and authenticated by PSA, original joint separate affidavit of parents of the Filipino national giving consent to the marriage with the Indian national irrespective of any age, which should be authenticated by the FA. In case of the death of the parents, the applicant should provide this death certificate duly authenticated by the FA, NEA, separate affidavit of parents of the Indian national giving consent to the marriage with the Filipino national irrespective of any age, which should be authenticated by locally notarized from India if staying in India, or attested by Indian mission in the country if staying outside of the India. So number 6 is copies of valid IDs of the parents, both your partners and yours. Then the original affidavit of singleness or willingness of the Filipino national authenticated by DFA. Yes. And the Sinomar from you and for your Indian partner. And then the joint affidavit from Indian and Filipino national on how they met each other and what are their plans after getting married. Original employment certificate of the company of the Indian national, like, if he has work, he has to get this. Then the certificate of bachelorhood issued by the area subdivisional magistrates, SDMs, court authorities from where the applicant belongs, counter attested by the Home Department of the state concerned, and then counter attested by the CPV division of the Ministry of External Affairs, Patiala House, New Delhi. One of the requirements that made my husband really traumatized is this certificate of bachelorhood, because it's really hard to get it. Well, it depends on where state your partner is in, because each state has different processes here in India, so it depends. But in our case, we are unfortunate because it's really hard to get this certificate of bachelorhood here in Mumbai. And these are all the requirements to check it out and get the 2 photocopies of each. In case if your Indian partner is already married in the Philippines, planning to marry again, these are the requirements. So just check it out. These 3 affidavits is really important. Just plan it beforehand to get this. When you're planning to get married, you need to get it. Like, first is the affidavit of the parents' consent to your marriage with your Indian partner. This is the first. And the second is the affidavit of singleness or willingness to marry for you, the Filipino partner. And next is a joint affidavit from the Indian and Filipino partner of how you met with each other and what are your plans in the future. In our case, we put there that we are planning to go to India. Me, I plan to go to India to settle here and start a new life and then plan our family like that. This affidavit, you need it to notarize in the city hall and just get this authenticated by the DFA so that you would be ready about it. That's it. Those are the requirements. So the processing time would be 3 working days, 3 to 5 working days. And the fee is this 590 plus 50, but actually the fee is 660 pesos. These requirements, I just copied it from their website. I will provide the link for it. You go check it out. Now let's go to the process. First, you have to collect all of the documents, of course, with 2 photocopies of each. If you can do it, make an extra photocopy of it. Provide 1 extra photocopy if in case, to get all ready. The next is go to the Indian Embassy in Manila and seek for the consular services for affidavit of legal capacities. In this case, like since I'm from province, we flew all the way to Manila to go to Indian Embassy with my partner. You have to take note that the Filipino partner can't go inside of the embassy with you unless you guys are married. You cannot go together there. The Indian national can just go directly there, just provide some ID and things like that. But the Filipino partner can't go inside. She needs to go via bus. There's a bus specifically for people going inside of the embassy for some business, and then they would need to stop at checkpoint, show the valid IDs, and you have also to pay for the entry. While your Indian partner can just process it alone, but it's up to you guys if you want to process it together. So the third process is once inside, the officer will give you the receipt of what you need. Then they'll ask for the documents. Like they'll give you a receipt of what you need, what are you seeking for the consular services. So in this case, you have to put, the legal capacity to get married, to get the legal capacity. So remember that here, everything needs to be in order. Yeah, if you don't want any hassle, prepare 2 photocopies of each and separate each in order so that it would be easier for them to check. Like, because once they ask for that single document and you are juggling your documents, where is that, they can just say to you like, come back again if everything's ready. So you don't want that, right? Because especially if you are from province, it's a lot of hassle going back and forth. In our case, everything was smooth. Yeah, my husband is so meticulous. How can it not be? Like, everything were in order, and before the officer can finish his words, like he already gave the document like in order, all of it. The next process is after they check all of the documents, they'll give you a letter. It's just a 1 piece of paper, like a A4 size bond paper letter, and where you write your name. You will just need to fill out the necessary details, like the name of the Indian national, applying for the legal capacity, and then the name of your wife to be, and any details there. This letter is your affidavit of legal capacity. Like, it's actually looking like this. Like, it's not typed or things like that. Your handwriting is there. So it's just like literally a piece of paper. So what will happen is they will just stamp it and then it's done. That's the legal capacity, but the requirements is also a lot. So the next process, this will be the last. They'll give you the receipt to bring with you after 5 days. So the payment is 660 pesos. Like, after 5 days, they will give you your document. So, but in our case, they released it after 3 days. So be sure to process it in weekdays, or otherwise you will have to wait for the weekend. You don't want that, right? So now we're done. You guys can skip this or not, but as always, I give tips and advices. I asked my husband what there would be his advices or tip that he can think of during the process of this legal capacity to get married. So number 1 tip that he told me is to arrange the documents in order from the site requirements. Like, in the site, they have those requirements, right? Just arrange your document according to that order, because they specifically ask for you to arrange it. If it's not in order, they will just issue you and then they will entertain the other person. So just arrange it in order. The next tip is to make sure to have 2 photocopies of each. If you can add another photocopy of it, just an extra. It won't be a waste anyway, because in the future you will need these photocopies anyway. So the next tip is that Indian nationals should carry an ID with you, like, valid ID to enter in the Indian embassy. Like my husband specifically emphasized this, that when he enters in the Indian embassy, don't use your passport to present it on the security guard or things like that, because that's a mistake on his part. Don't give your passport as an ID. Just give a separate valid ID which he has. When you go to another country, don't just give it to people, your passport and things like that. So anyway, that's all that we can think of, and if you have any questions, just comment it in the comment section below, and we'll try our best to answer it all according to our experience. Thank you for watching, and I hope this informational video helps you. If you're planning to get married, then best wishes from us, and I hope we'll see each other again in the next video. Bye!